Hey guys, so I am back with another Love and Hip Hop Hollywood Season 6 review. This review is for episode 14. If you did not catch my reviews for episodes 1 through 13, please go check those out. So this episode starts with Mickey Monday's single release skate party, and Moniece ends up showing up to the party with Tiara Marie, and Jason Lee and Zell are there, and they end up showing Moniece the pictures and videos of Drew and April in bed together and them all over each other in Vegas. And so she was actually calm about the situation. She actually didn't flip out about it when she heard about it, but then Drew and April end up showing up and they're hand in hand at this point, and they are acting completely brand new. It's like, okay, you guys are finally being open with your relationship, but the way that they were acting was like stuck up and stank when they got up in there. And I was like, why are they acting like that? It's like, why are they acting like that? And so they end up, acting stupid. April goes over to get skates, and she's like ignoring Moniece, and she's being rude to her on purpose. And so Moniece gets annoyed and she goes outside, and April ends up coming out there to quote unquote check on Moniece, okay? And she wasn't going out there to check on Moniece because I really honestly don't think she cares anything about Moniece, which she doesn't have to care about Moniece. Moniece thought that April was being dumb for coming out there too, because she felt like she knows April doesn't give a damn about her. And so April went out there and she basically told Moniece that she didn't owe her no explanation, and she didn't have to tell her that her and Drew were together. And Moniece told her, look, I didn't ask you for an explanation. My issue isn't with you. My issue is with Drew, who is the father of my child. So I felt like April should have stepped aside. Once Moniece told her that her issue wasn't with her, it was with Drew, I felt like April should have minded her business after that and just shut up, because what goes on between Drew and Moniece is not her business. As long as he's not messing with Moniece, she shouldn't care if they have conversations, because they have to. They have a son together. They're going to have to work something out, because they're going to be in each other's lives for a really long time. And I feel like April should focus more on her situation with Omarion and their kids instead of worrying about Drew and Moniece and their son, okay? So, April ends up getting annoyed at Moniece because Moniece is saying that she wants to have a conversation with Drew. Drew ends up coming outside to make sure that there's no altercation going on out there. And Moniece tells Drew that she wants to have a conversation with him, and she wants to have a conversation with him without his sidekick there. Now, she was referring to April as her sidekick. April gets annoyed about Moniece calling her the sidekick. And so because Drew didn't want it to escalate into something more serious, he told April to go inside and wait for him, and he'll be in there in a minute, okay? So he tells Moniece that he'll talk to her only if it's about their son. He doesn't feel like they need to communicate about anything but their son, which is true. I don't think they should be having conversations about anything but their son. They need to figure something out, because that toxicity around their kid is not a good thing. So they end up starting to talk, and she tells him, why don't they have a healthy co-parenting situation? And Drew was saying that because whenever they try to talk, it's never about their son, that Moniece says it's about their son, but it's really about other things, everything other than their son, which is true. Sometimes she talks to them, it has nothing to do with their son. And I feel like Moniece needs to change the way that she reacts to certain situations. She claims she doesn't want to be with Drew anymore, but she gets upset every time he gets into a relationship with somebody else. And maybe she's still in love with him, who knows? But if she is, she needs to get over it, because he's already moved on, and she needs to move on too, so that they can figure out what to do when it comes to their child. Now, she said that she's tired of Drew disrespecting her and letting the women that he dates disrespect her, because he always gets with these women and they trash her all the time when they don't even know her. And so Drew ends up walking away because he gets annoyed at Moniece because he feels like she's not trying to talk about their son. So he tells her to contact him when it's about their son, and he walks away. And so she starts crying with Tiara, Jason, and Zell, and she says that she just wants to be respected, that Drew's trashed her for years, made her look like a bad mom, and she still tried to have some type of communication with him when it comes to their son, and she doesn't like that. All the girls he gets with disrespects her, and now April's doing it too, which is true. I don't feel like Drew should allow the women that he dates to disrespect the mother of his child. It's just not a good look. Like, he has his own issues with Moniece, but the women that he dates shouldn't be disrespecting her. Brittany B is in the studio with Asian Doll recording a collab that they're doing together, because she was saying that she wants to focus on her music. She said that her and her mom, after that meetup that they had, they haven't really talked too much. They've texted back and forth a few times, but nothing that serious. She wants to put herself right into her music because she's a songwriter and she's a singer. She's had more success as a songwriter though than as a singer, and so she wants to focus on her music, and so she's collabing with Asian Doll. Now, her and Asian Doll are both dark-skinned women, and Brittany B was saying how she's experienced colorism in the industry where she's been overlooked because she is darker skinned. And I feel like there's a lot of dark-skinned women who say that they get overlooked, not just in the music industry, but in entertainment as well. They get overlooked a lot, and so I thought it was good that she was talking about it and making it a part of her journey on Love and Hip Hop, and I'm interested to see where her career ends up going. She also says that Apple is going to get her together with Yo-Yo, and she's excited to meet Yo-Yo and potentially be able to work with her because she's looked up to Yo-Yo for a really long time. So hopefully, maybe Yo-Yo and Brittany B could collab together on something. We'll see. Now, A1's lying, cheating ass is setting up some little picnic for Lyrica and their son, and he got music playing in the background and everything, and I'm like, this dude is like, what? Like, he really thinks a picnic, so a fake-ass picnic, is about to make their relationship better after all the shit he's done. You cheated on her while she was pregnant with your son and continued to cheat on her, and you think that that's going to make things better. And I don't know, Lyrica acts like she's kind of dumb sometimes when it comes to A1. I don't care if you're in love with somebody. If you keep allowing them to disrespect you like that, they're going to keep doing it because they know there's not going to be any consequences to their actions. And so Lyrica ends up coming there, and she said that it was cute that he had set up this little picnic for her and their son, but that she's still unsure of what she wants to do with the relationship. Now, he was saying that he realizes what he had after all the time he spent by himself, and that he just wants to make things right with Lyrica. And it's like, you've been with her for 8 years and you're just not realizing what you had. It's like, boy, bye. So Lyrica was telling him that she doesn't trust him because he's given her no reason to trust him. And once the trust is gone, it's like there's really almost no rebuilding that. Like, I don't know how they could rebuild it after she lost all this trust for him. And so she tells him to unlock his phones, both phones, because he has two, which is a red flag for him to have two phones. Like, why do you have two separate phones? So he unlocks the phones, but he looks like he's scared as fuck to unlock the phones, okay? So she's looking through the phones, and she sees that he's been DMing Instagram models, and she sees all types of sexy pictures of the women that are in the DMs. And so she told him, why is he DMing these women? And he was telling her that he was DMing them because he needed them to be a part of his videos, which I believe him a little bit. I think that he does inbox them to have them in his videos, but I also think he sleeps with them too. So, like, come on now. So she was telling him that she doesn't feel comfortable with him DMing Instagram models for, even if it is for work purposes. And I agree with her. I don't think he should be doing that. And she was telling him that he needs to get an assistant because she feels uncomfortable with him doing it. We'll see if he ends up doing that though, because I really don't think he's going to. And he probably feels like Lyrica's going to end up taking him back. So I don't really think that he's going to make too many changes. He may make like one friggin' change for a certain period of time and then go back to his same old ways again. So we'll see what happens with the two of them. But he told her to do a trial run with living in the house. Don't move all her stuff back into the house, but move some of it in there and see how she likes living back in the house again, and then they'll go from there. But I don't know. I think the whole idea is kind of stupid to me. Jason Lee is messy as hell, okay? And he ends up having Moniece as a guest on his Hollywood Unlocked Uncensored show. And I know why he's doing that. He doesn't like April anymore. He fired her from his show, and he knows that now Moniece and April are having some type of problems with each other. So that's the reason why he invited Moniece on the show. Now, he ends up giving Moniece a public apology because he had put out either her sex tape or a clip or an image from her sex tape on to Hollywood Unlocked talked. And so him and Moniece were at odds for a while because of that. And so he apologized publicly for it. I still wouldn't forgive him for doing that because that's like one of the worst things you can do to somebody. And so I wouldn't forgive him. But if Moniece is okay with him after that, then that's on her. Now, he brings up the April and Drew situation about them being public together now. And Moniece was saying that she doesn't feel betrayed about them being together, but that she doesn't like that they lied to her. She said that Drew should have told her the truth about him and April being together because their son that they have together felt like he had to lie to Moniece about Drew and April because he wanted to protect his father, and she didn't like that her son felt like he had to lie to her. And so Moniece also said that Drew only started being close to April once him and Omarion had fell out, which is something I didn't know, which is odd. And it's like, now April needs to figure out whether or not she even wants to be with Drew after that, because if that's true, then that makes it look like he only with April because he was trying to get back at Omarion when they fell out. I don't know how true that is, though. I don't even know if April and Drew are even really in a relationship together. You know, who knows? It could just be for a storyline, but we'll have to just keep an eye on that situation. Although I really don't care about Moniece and Drew being together, I do think that it's wrong to date somebody you were friends with, ex, or, you know, somebody you were friends with, kid's mom or kid's dad or anything like that. I feel like that type of stuff is off limits whether you're friends with that person or not, but they did it, and that's just that. And Omarion has not said anything about it. He's unbothered as hell, so I feel like everybody else should be unbothered too. So she says that she doesn't want to feel disrespected because she says that she's constantly disrespected by Drew and disrespected by the woman that he dates, and that he's never respected her as a mom. And I think that's true. And I don't really like that Drew became a savior for April. Like, April was going through it and April got kids and Omarion up and left her, and so he went to the rescue for her, but he doesn't do the same for his own child's mother. That doesn't make any sense to me. But like I said, we only know what they put out. We don't know what really happens off camera. So we'll just have to wait and see if any of that comes out. And then Moniece says that April is allegedly pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, Moniece, see, you always have to take it there. And that's what I mean about Moniece. It's like, sometimes you want to be on her side, you want to root for her, but then she does something like that. And it's just like, you don't put out whether somebody's pregnant or not. Like, you leave that to yourself, whether it's true or not. You do not put out that information. You let them put it out themselves. Zell is in a relationship with Star Divine, and he's trying out being in a relationship with a woman because he is bisexual and he wants to be with a woman. He says that he's getting older and he would like to settle down and start a family. And so we'll see what ends up happening with Zell and Star Divine. Yo-Yo is in the studio recording her song. Apple and Brittany B show up and they are rooting her on. And Yo-Yo was saying that she's nervous on whether or not she'll be relevant because she was making music back in the day, and she doesn't know that if her music and who she is going to keep her being successful in the times that we're in right now, because music now and back then are completely different, like so different. So she doesn't know if she's going to be relevant. And so we'll see what ends up happening with her song. But Brittany B tells her that she sings and writes because Apple brought her there specifically to introduce herself to Yo-Yo. And so Apple ends up talking to Yo-Yo and Brittany about the situation with that guy that Yo-Yo set her up with to meet with for a shoe line. And Yo-Yo wanted to see how Apple was feeling about it, because the guy had told her that he wasn't going to work with her because it was a risk to take because of the way that she speaks on her social media. And Apple feels like she's being told that she needs to change who she is in order to make it. And she doesn't really want to change who she is. And she had brought up the Cardi B situation because Cardi B is very vocal on her social media. And she was before she even became like famous and really well known. And her mouth was reckless and still is. And she feels like, why is it okay for Cardi to do it, but she can't do it? And I just hope that, Apple ends up making it, you know what I'm saying? Because I really would like to see her, shine. And I just hope that she stays out of trouble and doesn't get herself involved in anybody else's drama, because she has a tendency of getting involved in other people's drama that she has nothing to do with. And I feel like she needs to just take time to herself and focus on her own self. So Yo-Yo ends up asking the ladies if they want to get on her track, and Brittany B is really excited about it because she's trying to focus on her music career, and this is a big opportunity for her to work with somebody like Yo-Yo, so she's taking full advantage of it. Lyrica is trying on clothes because she's headlining the pre-Epsies event, and she wants to make sure that she looks perfect for the event and that everything goes smoothly. And so her mom ends up showing up, and her mom is excited for her performance because her mom is definitely very supportive of Lyrica and her music career. And I think that they have a good relationship with one another. I do think that Lyrica's mom can be too invasive sometimes in her personal life, but she's also trying to protect her daughter from a guy who treats her not the best way, you know what I'm saying? And every mom wants their daughter to be treated, the way they deserve to be treated, not like they're garbage. Like cheating on somebody while they're pregnant with your child is disgusting to me. So her mom asked if A1's going to end up coming to her performance, and Lyrica tells her, that he's not only going to be there, but he's helping her with her performance because he usually is the one who helps her with her shows. Now, Lyrica tells her mom that her and A1 went on a play date, and he asked her to do a trial at the house to see if she wants to live there. And her mom isn't having it at all. She's telling her, look, yous are married. What do you mean a trial run? You guys are married. Which it doesn't make sense to me either that they're trying to do this trial run thing. But I feel like they're trying to do it because if Lyrica ends up in the time period that they're doing this little trial, if it ends up not working out, she's going to end up moving out for real. So we'll see what ends up happening with this little trial that they're end up doing. But she ended up asking Lyrica if she thinks A1 loves her, and Lyrica says that she does believe that he loves her, and her mom is like, hell no, you really think a man who's going to cheat on you while you're pregnant with this child loves you? And I feel like Lyrica needs to hear that. I don't feel like her mom should be like on her case so much about it, but I feel like she wants her daughter to be happy, and she could tell that Lyrica is not happy with A1 because of the things that he's been doing to her. And so Lyrica starts crying, and I do feel bad for Lyrica. I know I get on Lyrica in these reviews because I feel like she gives A1 way too many chances than he deserves. And I know that it hurts her because she's been with him for a long time. She says he's like her best friend. They have a child together. They're married. But at the same time, she needs to learn to put herself first. And her happiness first at this point, because A1's doing what he has to do for himself and to keep himself happy. He's focused on himself. Meanwhile, she's focused on him. She needs to focus on herself and her child, and whatever ends up happening between her and A1 ends up happening. Drew and April are moving into their new house. They ended up not choosing the house that Drew had took her to, where she had that stupid blindfold on as if she didn't know she was going to a house that he purchased. And so they end up choosing a different house. It's a smaller house, but they said that it was good for them and their little family that they have together. And so Drew ends up saying that Zell was being messy, which Zell was being messy. I ain't even gonna lie. He was messy for taking that picture of April and him laying in bed together and sending that to Hollywood Unlocked. I think that was messy, and I think that was wrong, because even though him and April were at odds at that point, they were friends, and I don't think that just because you fall out with somebody, you start putting all their business on blast. I don't think you do something like that, whether I like April or not. And so April feels like nobody should have anything to say about them being together because it's not their business, and nobody should care what she does with her body, which is true. But at the same time, you guys chose to make this public for everybody to see. We all knew that Omarion and Drew were friends at one point, and they were in the same group together. We know that you and Omarion were together for a certain amount of time, and that you two have 2 children together. So you two being together is something that people are going to have an opinion on, and whether you feel they should have an opinion or not on it or not, they're going to. So she just needs to deal with the fact that people are going to say things, and she can just choose not to care what people think. And apparently she does care what people think, because she keeps on addressing people caring what she does with her body. So they don't want to deal with Moniece anymore, okay? They said that they don't want her to be a part of their lives unless they're talking about their son. And I don't even feel like they're going to work things out when it comes to that, because right now it seems like they're at odds because of this whole April situation. And so I just feel like Moniece and Drew are going to have to talk outside of being on TV, being filmed when they talk. They need to figure something out when it comes to co-parenting, not on television and not with their significant others involved in it at all, because it's going to rub off on their son at some point with them two being at odds, because their son's going to be able to sense that there's some type of tension between the two of them. And so then April jokes that she's pregnant because Moniece said it on Hollywood Unlocked. And so I do think that Moniece was wrong for saying that April was pregnant on Hollywood Unlocked. She didn't know if April was pregnant or not. And to put that out there on the social media like that for everybody to see and hear, I don't think that that's right to do. Whether you like April or not, I just don't think that putting somebody else's business on display is not the best thing to possibly do. So they claim that they're happy together and that they want to be together and they don't care what anybody else thinks. So if they're happy, they're happy, but they have to understand too, people are still going to have an opinion on them being in a relationship together. A1 is helping Lyrica get ready for her performance, and he says he's doing it to show Lyrica he wants to make things work. Now, the sound guy and A1 start arguing because A1 feels like the sound guy is messing around and he wants Lyrica's performance to be good, and if her performance is not good, it's going to make him look bad. And I felt like he was being disrespectful to the sound guy. I don't feel like he needed to speak to the sound guy the way that he was speaking to him, and I feel like that makes Lyrica look bad. It's like if he acts like that, Lyrica may not get another opportunity to do a big event like that if they feel like A1's going to be a problem. And so I felt like he was making it worse on Lyrica than he thought he was. And so Lyrica's mom ends up showing up and she's bothered because she walks in as A1 speaking to the tech guy the way that he's talking to them. And so A1 interrupts Lyrica and her mom talking, and Lyrica and her mom are talking, and A1 interrupts, and the mom and A1 end up arguing with each other, and she brings up him cheating on Lyrica. And then A1 brings up that they both were cheating on each other and that they both did wrong. And so that ends up pissing off Lyrica, and they start arguing because she feels like he's trying to backtrack and put it on her and say that it's because she cheated on him while he's been cheating on her. And she wasn't having that. And so she gets annoyed and she gets up and she walks away from them. Now, they tell A1 that he needs to apologize to the tech crew, and he says that he doesn't really feel like he needs to apologize, but the only reason why he's going to apologize is so that Lyrica won't be mad at him. And it's like he did need to apologize because he was being rude to the tech guy. He didn't have to speak to him like that. It's not what you say, it's the way that you say it. And he was being extremely rude and disrespectful. And I'm wondering if Lyrica's even going to ever get a big opportunity to perform like that if she keeps A1 as somebody who's like a manager to her. Because them mixing business with pleasure like that is probably not the best thing for them to do. That's probably why their relationship is in shambles as it is right now, because he was her husband and her manager, and that doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't feel like you should mix the two together, and that's what they've been doing. Moniece says that she hasn't been doing well since the situation at Mickey Monday's skate party, and that the whole situation that happened between her, April, and Drew triggered her depression. She's been suffering with depression, and she said that it takes certain situations to trigger it back, and now she's doing horrible, she said. So Tiara ends up showing up, and they sit in and they're eating and they're talking with one another about the situation. And she says that she's proud of how Moniece handled it, which I think Moniece handled it well in the beginning as well, when they told her that Drew and April made it public that they were together. I felt like she didn't spaz out the way that everybody expected her to, and I think that that's good, because I do think that she needs to change the way that she reacts to things. And so she said she don't like how April is treating her, because April claims that she's going through all this stuff with Omarion, similar things that Moniece says she's going through with Drew, and she feels like April would be understanding to her situation because she's going through a similar thing with Omarion, but yet April's not, putting herself in her shoes. And so Moniece says that she doesn't want to be with Drew, which I don't believe her. I think that she is still in love with Drew. I think that she is not over him yet, because I feel like she wouldn't get so upset every time he's with somebody else. if she didn't still have feelings for him. And I feel like it wouldn't be as dramatic of a situation as it is with the two of them all the time. If it wasn't, they would just be able to co-parent and that was it. So if there was no feelings involved. And so she was talking about how Drew isn't respecting her. And she says that Drew and April literally moved like right behind her house, which doesn't make her feel comfortable. And I don't think that they should have did that. If they are actually living on the same block as Moniece, I think that that's doing too much. You know what I'm saying? That's doing way too much. And so she says that Drew is letting April listen to their conversations that they have on the phone, and that he's showing her the text messages that they have with one another, which I don't think he should be doing. Unless Moniece is talking shit about April, he shouldn't be showing April anything that has to do with the two of them, because they need to talk about what's going on with their son and they need to figure something out. And I feel like Drew doesn't respect Moniece, so he's letting friggin' April see everything that they discuss. It is wrong. And I feel like Drew needs to make some changes with himself too, because I feel like he only puts everything on Moniece. And it's like, you have a hand in the situations that happen between you and Moniece. It's not just Moniece, it's both of you. So Moniece ends up breaking down in tears, and Tiara ends up comforting her because Tiara knows how it feels to be going through a really tough time, and so she wants to be there for Moniece. The episode cut there. I thought it was a pretty good episode. I do think that Lyrica needs to really figure out what she's going to do with A1, because she's dragging it out for way too long, and she needs to just figure it out, because one minute they're good and they're having this little romantic moment together, and then the next minute they're arguing with each other again. It's like, it's too much of a back and forth, and it's like they need to figure it out, because they're wasting so much time that people don't really have. We don't have that much time to be sitting around contemplating things that have been going on for long enough. It's like, if you keep letting him cheat on you and disrespect you, he's going to keep doing it. But it's up to Lyrica ultimately if she wants to stay with him or not. And with the whole Moniece and April and Drew situation, I feel like April needs to mind her business when it comes to Drew and Moniece and what they go through together, because it doesn't affect her if she doesn't worry about it. That's Drew's job to worry about what goes on with Moniece, not her. So I feel like she's making herself a part of their drama when she doesn't need to be a part of it. And so I hope that Moniece and Drew are able to work something out for the sake of their son, but we'll see what ends up happening in the next episode. Like this video, comment down in the comment section what you thought about this episode. I'd like to hear your opinions on it. Subscribe to my channel. I will be reviewing a lot more shows than just Love and Hip Hop. I've done so many more shows than I've even thought I was going to do, and I have so many more to come, so be aware of that. And thank you to all my subscribers for the support. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.